Now it's time for Toker Talk Radio, the voice of the marijuana nation.
What are you people? On dope?
Where you can toke.
I inhale frequently.
Or you can talk.
I experimented with marijuana and didn't inhale.
Or you can toke and talk.
10 federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
While we talk about toke on Toker Talk Radio.
So, by the way, when it comes to pot, you know, if you're 40 years old, you live in a log cabin in Oregon, you got 12 giant pot plants in your backyard, have a ball.
Live from beautiful Portland, Oregon at Rolla J Studios.
Hey, this is great. Just not cannabis.
Plus your calls live at 971-533-7111.
They're walking on their pants with their cap on backwards, listening to Enema Man and Snoopy Poop Dog.
What's to keep somebody from getting all potted up on weed and then getting behind the wheel? Gateway theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
Holland, is it real? Don't tease me.
We're locking up people that take a couple of puffs of marijuana, and the next thing you know, they got 10 years.
And now, here's your host, the guru of ganja graphics, the sultan of sativa statistics, and the worst nightmare of a reefer mad prohibitionist. A polite, perspicacious, productive pothead with a propensity for PowerPoint. Radical Russ Belville.
Victory. We're all booted up now.
Yeah, buddy.
Welcome, everybody. It's Toker Talk Radio, the first one of 2014. Hanging out here with Brian the Red, and Left Wing Larry has just come down into the room. And I gotta say, Left Wing Larry is kicking ass in the culinary side here in the house. I'm glad somebody in this house can cook. Yeah. I'm well known. I don't cook. I reheat things.
Yes, Russ is the can and microwave man.
Now, I can reheat things that require putting them together, like, you know, spaghetti. You know, you heat the noodles over there, right? And then spaghetti sauce, you heat that over there. Yeah. And then you combine them. I'm good with that. Burgers, right? Make a burger.
Oh, you're the best with burgers.
Make a bun. I'm good at that.
Put them together.
But Larry made this like pork rib sauerkraut. Oh, God, it was good. God, it was good. All right,
spoiling him.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope we made you hungry. It's Toker Talk Radio, and I got a bunch of stuff to cover in today's show. Later on, I have got the video from Mox News. You know our buddies out there at Mox News. I've got the video from CNN Crossfire with Alan St. Pierre of Normal versus Patrick Kennedy of Project Sam. And I heard a lot of people talking about this video. Well, I didn't hear them. I read it on social media. But a lot of people were talking about this video. And so we're going to go over that in the second half hour here. Also, after our first break, I've got video of Brian Wilson.
Oh, yes.
I've got video of Brian Wilson out there and his family, Meghan and Vivian, and them being surprised because they had no idea they were going to get that $10,000 gift to move to New Jersey, or move out of New Jersey into Colorado so that their daughter can use, Charlotte's Web, the Alepsia oil.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Magic butter. Get that magic butter box. Let's give these guys some love. Butter. They deserve it, man.
It's over in the corner.
Yeah.
I'll get it over here, yes.
Yeah, we'll get that. But the guys from Magical Butter, Garen Angel was a true angel here and got a couple of his friends as well to help to raise $10,000 for the family so that they could move out of the hellhole of New Jersey that Chris Christie has created, where even in Utah, they think that kids should have this stuff. But no, not New Jersey. Not New Jersey. All right, let's see here. This is the Magical Butter machine. And these guys are awesome. These guys are great. Check them out.
They donate these
magicalbutter.com
to a lot of people that need help.
Yeah, and we'll show and tell this here. I'll let Brian take that out of the box. But another thing I wanted to cover while he's working on that, a story out of Chicago, because I follow these stories on Canicide, on the killing of dogs, and this one just may take the cake. So let me give you this. It's a couple of lawsuits have just been filed in Illinois. First one is a man named Paul Manning, who's suing the city of Harvey, Illinois. It's police officer James Sinnott and officer O'Shea. Harvey is a suburb of Chicago. It's far south of Chicago. It's about 30,000 people. It's about 90% black and Latino. And the median income and home value in Harvey are about half the statewide median. So we're talking about poor black and brown folks. Okay, that's the neighborhood. Anyway, Mr. Manning claims he was walking down the street on December 30th, 2012, when the officers began following him in a squad car. The officer stopped his car and told Mr. Manning, "Come here." Mr. Manning had done nothing wrong and therefore did not stop. Mr. Manning had no weapon or other objects in his hands. After a short distance of moving away from the officer, Mr. Manning slipped and fell. As Mr. Manning tried to get up, one of the defendant officers willfully shot Mr. Manning in the back of the leg. Mr. Manning fell again and tried to get up again. Defendant officer then fired more shots at Mr. Manning. Mr. Manning suffered excruciating pain from these gunshot wounds. One of the defendant officers then stood on top of Mr. Manning with the full force of his leg on Mr. Manning's back. One of the defendant officers handcuffed Mr. Manning while he was lying down after having been shot. Okay, now so far, I'm just telling you an everyday story in Chicago. I'm just telling.
That's it.
Yeah, this is just day to day. Ask a young black man living in Chicago or New York or St. Louis or any major city. This is typical. This is not headline newsworthy, right? Here's where it starts to get headline newsworthy. A witness tried to record the scene on his cell phone, but a Harvey officer grabbed the phone and threw it, saying, "You touch the phone, I will shoot the shit out of you." Ooh. Now, this is also interesting because up until recently, Illinois and Massachusetts, I believe, and I may be wrong in Massachusetts, don't hold me to that one, but in all 50 states, it's legal to film a police officer in public. It's perfectly legal to do that. But up until recently, Illinois was the one state that had a law that said you couldn't. You could not film police officers in the while they were working. This got taken to court and challenged, and I believe it's been overturned recently. I'll have to remind me to check back on that. I think it's been overturned, but I think it's perfectly legal for this person to be trying to film the cop. All right, so the person trying to film is named Ms. Miller. Okay, so Ms. Miller is serving another lawsuit, and here's the details from hers. Ms. Miller claims she heard gunshots, opened the back door, and witnessed a young man, Paul Manning, lying on the ground after having been shot. He was screaming and asking for an ambulance. Harvey police officers were surrounding Paul Manning with their guns drawn. When Ms. Miller opened the door, her 14-week-old puppy, Nemo, ran outside. A police officer yelled to Miller's boyfriend, LaShawn Wright, "Get your dog!" As Mr. Wright walked off the porch toward the dog, one of the defendant officers unholstered and raised his gun toward Nemo and Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright became fearful for his life and stopped. Nemo approached one of the defendant officers and sniffed his ankle. Nemo did not growl, bark, or act aggressively in any way. A defendant officer then shot Nemo, the puppy. The officers would not let anyone approach the wounded dog from 4:30 p.m. until 11:15 p.m. A defendant officer said, "Yeah, I shot the dog. What the fuck you gonna do about it?" Ms. Miller claims. Ms. Miller and her children were so distraught by the circumstances surrounding Nemo's murder and being forced to helplessly watch him die that they moved from Harvey, Illinois to Wisconsin. So there you go. That's our dog shooting story of the day. Big cop man shooting a puppy that's sniffing his ankles.
There's a special layer of hell for people like that.
That's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. And all of this is done purposefully to intimidate. It's part of shock and awe. The idea is to show the perps that you, the cop, have the power over life and death. And it's nothing less than rank terrorism. That's what it is, and we cannot stand for this anymore, folks.
Bullshit.
It's bullshit. So we're going to take a break. I just wanted to get that out of the way so that when we come back, we can do something happy. So when we come back, we'll have the video from the Wilson family, Meghan and Brian out there in Scotch Plains, New Jersey, who got a Christmas miracle. Stick around. It's the Russ Belville Show's Toker Talk Radio.
The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
Cannabis Outreach Collective is an alternative health and wellness option located in Gladstone, Oregon, that serves patients in the Portland area and beyond. We are a full-service alternative health and wellness collective accommodating patients with natural, organic, holistic, and homeopathic remedies, nutritional guidance, advice, education, and medical cannabis, fully in accordance with Oregon OMMP law. You can find out more about Cannabis Outreach Collective on Facebook at COC503 or by emailing cannabisoutreachcollective503@gmail.com or by telephone at 503-853-1319. Check out our menu on Weed Maps and visit Cannabis Outreach Collective today. 420 Radio, the home of marijuana experts. When you are starting up a medical cannabis business, you don't just want any attorney. You want a fired-up lawyer who understands the needs of cannabis consumers. The law office of Lauren Vasquez is your fired-up lawyer for the cannabis industry. Lauren Vasquez knows the details of California marijuana law from both a personal and professional angle. Lauren Vasquez rose from the ranks of college normal activist to become one of the Bay Area's best marijuana lawyers. Visit her website, fireduplawyer.com, or call 1-855-MMJ-LAWS for more information. That's 855-665-5297 for Lauren Vasquez, your fired-up lawyer, or email fireduplawyer@gmail.com. The number again is 855-MMJ-LAWS, 855-665-5297 for your fired-up lawyer, Lauren Vasquez. Lauren Vasquez is an activist attorney you can trust. Call today.
I smoke marijuana all the time. I start in the early morning and toke all night. You can stop by when you please. We'll sit around and burn some trees. But just remember 3 simple rules. Well, if you want to smoke with me. Well, rule number 1 is puff, puff, pass, or give it back. 'Cause I don't need some Bogart with smoking all my stash. Rule number 2 is for the slobber in your mouth. 'Cause when you pass the joint, I don't want it dripping like a water spout. Listen up carefully as I explain rule number 3. If you ever get busted by police, but you don't know me.
Welcome back, everybody. That's music from our good friend Chief Greenbud out of Nashville, Tennessee. Check him out on chiefgreenbud.com. He's got 3 full albums of great country toker tunes for you, so check it out. All right, we're back with Brian the Red and Left Wing Larry hanging out here at Rolla J Studios here in the new year. We're going to do some show and tell with the magical butter, but first, we're going to give you this fantastic Christmas video from Brian and Meghan Wilson out there in Scotch Plains, New Jersey, who got a fantastic gift. Check it out.
Hey, this is Lefty. I'm at the Wilson's house delivering a Christmas gift. What is it? Stick around.
Hold on a second. Megan was just in the... Well, you recorded, so I won't tell you.
Hey, come on. I want the dirt. Where were you?
She was in the water closet.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Come on in. Babe, you remember Lefty?
Do it.
Say hi.
Hey. Oh.
Say Merry Christmas. Good. Merry Christmas.
Hi, sweetie.
Give a kiss.
Hello.
Adele, can you say hi?
Hey. Hey, Adele. Please play.
Is this something that's going to
Merry Christmas, Wilson family. We hope your morning's been incredible. When we came and visited you, it was very touching. And we came back and we spoke and we said, what can we do to help? And that's when I sent you that private message on Facebook and you responded, really, we don't need help. And I said, seriously, what can we do to help? And you said, well, maybe some help with the moving costs. I asked you how much, you said $5,000 to $10,000. I posted a private message and a great family, the Braun family, Lisa and Drew, contacted me and said that they would personally like to donate $5,000. MagicalButter.com is matching that, and now you have $10,000 for your move, and hopefully this move allows Vivian to stop having these tremendous seizures, and that this is the answer to your prayers. To us, this is what Christmas is about. And every year we want to try to help a family like you. And hopefully one day we'll have a room full of people that have been helped because you guys helped lay the groundwork. Thank you guys, and we're hopeful that next year you guys can leave the house on a date and know that your daughter is safely at home. Merry Christmas to you and your two beautiful daughters from MagicalButter.com, our Facebook community. The world's pulling for you guys. Merry Christmas.
That's incredible.
Thank you, Garen, and everybody.
Oh my God.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
We love you, Wilson.
Oh, we love you guys.
And who was the
That's incredible.
How cool That's the amazing video from the Wilson family there on Toker Talk Radio. It's a 10-minute video. You can catch the whole thing out at their YouTube page. That's available online. I've also posted the link in our chat room if you'd like to see the rest of that video for yourself. But like someone in our chat room said, if you don't feel for that little girl, then you don't have a heart. So let's give some more love to Magical Butter. I'm going to turn things over here to Brian the Red, who's got the Magical Butter machine there. Let's see if I can get which camera on here. I'm not sure where all my cameras are these days. There we go. Brian Cam. So it kind of looks like a coffee pot.
Kind of. It's actually just a, well, basically, you know, when you dumb it down, it's just a distillation machine. But you can use it to make tinctures, butters, oil, all sorts of good stuff. Let's see here. What do we got?
Here, you grab. I'll grab that thing. And you just talk about it, and I'll show it up here.
Yeah, so let's see here. Patent-pending appliance was designed by a scientist and a chemist to precisely extract the nutrients from your favorite herbs and infuse them into herbal butters, peanut oil, well, there's a whole bunch of different oils listed here, and tincture. And then you can just make all your favorite foods with that, you know, brownies, cookies, you know, you can make, yeah, you can have oil, you know, drizzle over your salad, you know, make it like olive oil.
You know what I like about this thing is it's self-cleaning.
Yeah, and it's so easy to use. There's buttons on top.
Yeah, I was showing them the buttons.
Yeah, the buttons basically to time, you know, each process. You just put in the.
In case I can't read that, what do they say on the top there?
Oh well, there's like 1 hour for oil, 2 hours for butter, 4 hours for tincture, and then there's an 8 hour, which is for, you know, cooking things down a little bit further if you want it more concentrated.
Yeah, and the other great thing about this is it holds the smell.
Yeah, it's pretty self-contained, and well, it's completely self-contained, and he's got the little heating.
I was told all you got to do is drop your buds in there, drop some oil in there, push the button, and go.
Yep, and there's a little fill line inside, minimum, maximum. You just drop this thing in here, plug it into the wall, and yeah, that's what shows there.
We're going to have to make some of that stuff pretty soon. Big thanks to MagicalButter.com. Give them your support because they support the community. But it's 20 after. We got to take a break. We'll be back after we've upped our cannabinoid content, so up yours.
Have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. Have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. If he said he swam to China, he would sell you South Carolina. Then you know you're talking to that reefer man.
Hey, Tokers and Tokettes, Radical Russ here to introduce you to my friend Matt and all the staff at Lush LED Lighting. Growing plants indoors can be a rewarding hobby, but electricity bills can go through the roof. Then you have to cool down all those big hot lights. It can drive a grower insane. With Lush LED Lighting, you can solve many of these issues and double your rewards. If you thought LEDs were meet the tech of today, Matt and his scientists have developed the perfect light for flowering plants with far less cost and heat. And the results? Let's just say I appear at a lot of events with the masters of indoor horticulture, and the harvests I saw from Lush LED Lighting were big, tight, sticky, and very effective. Check out lushledlighting.com right now and tell them Radical Russ sent you. Double your rewards and lower your expenses with Lush LED Lighting.
Marijuana, do you wanna? Mary, do you wanna tonight?
As marijuana goes mainstream, you need to be armed with the facts. Nobody can teach you better than Dr. Mitch Earlywine, Ph.D. You may know Dr. Mitch from his column in High Times magazine or his weekly appearance on The Russ Belville Show. Dr. Mitch is also the author of some of the best books on marijuana science, culture, history, and health, including Understanding Marijuana, Parents' Guide to Marijuana, Pot Politics, and more. Visit Amazon.com and search for Mitch Earlywine, that's EARLEYWINE, and order your books today. You can also contact Dr. Mitch by email at 420research@gmail.com. Weed Porn Daily with Oscar Diaz from Florida every Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, and 7 p.m. GMT right here on 420radio.org.
Wake up, cause everybody got to work. My son is up on the clock, brass class.
Thought those reggae guys were supposed to be mellow. Shouting right at me.
Maybe he had some sativa.
Yeah, I was going to say he's had some sativa there.
Well, welcome back, everyone. It's Toker Talk Radio, 23 after the hour. We hope you had a good 20 after break, and we're just hanging out here chilling. Our phone lines are open at 971-533-7111, and we're just going to talk about a couple of things, and one of these is the fact that we are sponsored by Brightside Dispensary here in Portland. You remember our good friend Wiz Calico. He's in charge out there. And he's sponsoring the show, sponsoring a network. So we want to give a shout out to Brightside PDX for helping supply some of our 420 breaks here.
Yeah, and I went there actually on Christmas. Was it Christmas or the day before? One or the other. And they gave me a free T-shirt.
There you go.
They're cool guys.
Brightside PDX on 1010 Southeast Powell in Portland, Oregon. And we've been doing some strain sampling for Brightside, and so far, the winner so far is Silvertip. I love the Silvertip.
You like the Silvertip?
Yeah.
Actually, I like the grapefruit.
You like the grapefruit. Tell us about the grapefruit.
The grapefruit is definitely the finest tasting bud I have ever tasted in my life.
Yeah.
It's got a really broad terpene range. So,
man, and obviously the guy that was just on the reggae, he was probably doing some grapefruit, because that's what it made me feel like. Woo!
Yelling,
woo! Boom! Boom! Yeah, I like the grapefruit too. As far, and I agree with you as far as the taste on that and the smell. I mean, it smells like a grapefruit.
Incredible.
Yep, that's an old school strain. I remember having some of that in early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah. All right, we got Electric Bob calling in on the line. How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing good, and to butt in on the conversation, I'd have to go with Girl Scout cookies as my the best tasting smoke I've ever had in a while.
Oh, I'm glad to try that.
Oh yeah, Girl Scout cookies is pretty nice. It's kind of smooth.
What are we talking there? It's a hybrid or a Girl Scout?
Yeah, I had I think the Fenmint Lupino.
Yeah.
I had that one. And my buddy said it didn't even taste like weed. It tasted like cookies.
Well, I was reading in that story that I did on the news story we did on the vape pens, where they're talking about how in Colorado you're limited to buying an ounce if you're local and an eighth, or is it a quarter? I think it's an eighth.
An eighth.
If you're not local, right? It's a quarter?
Yeah, it's a quarter.
Okay, so you can only buy a quarter if you're not local, right? But then they found that these vaporizer cartridges, like they come in these 150 milligram vaporizer cartridges that will last you a week or two, right? But it's only 150 milligrams weight.
Yeah.
So that still only counts against your eighth ounce. You can buy like 47 of these cartridges.
Can you imagine a quarter of...
Yeah, a quarter of an ounce of concentrate. Yeah. Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think that also goes with BHO too.
Yeah.
You can get a quarter ounce of,
Yeah,
so,
infused, yep.
So in reading this...
And you can get as many edibles as you want.
When I was reading this, one of the guys in the story was talking about how he's switched to these vape pens. And he's been using vape pens so much that now when he switches and when he tries to use herb, he says it's like smoking a cigarette. It tastes awful because of all the burn, because of all the smoke. Interesting.
I like my vape pen too.
Yeah.
I really like it. I keep it beside the bed at night and wake up, got a sore shoulder or a sore hip or something like that. I hit that vape pen, within 5 minutes, it's gone.
Good stuff. Hey, Bob, we've got your show debuting tomorrow night, too. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, I was going to actually, I'm going to be uploading a show tonight. I'm sorry I haven't been much on the information because I thought the show was on Thursday, not Tuesday. So I thought I had another day.
Sorry about that. I was just finalizing the lineup and I realized that, wait a minute, Electric Tuesday is Tuesday, not Thursday.
Yeah, exactly. It's all good. I already had some stuff running up, but I'm doing a progressive house mix.
Oh, good.
And you'll hear that from tomorrow. It's a lot of bass, a lot of good vibes in the songs.
Yeah, Electric Bob's Electric Boogaloo debuts tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning at 7 a.m., but I know a lot of you are sleeping. But that's 10 a.m. Eastern and 3 p.m. GMT. I've kind of made these lineups now to try to also focus on our European audience and to post things in GMT time. So you'll be right in the afternoon in UK. And then tomorrow night, Wednesday night at 10 o'clock. So that'll be probably when I'm listening to it. During the nighttime play. And then as part of our party block on Saturday nights, you got the 3 a.m. spot.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, not bad. That'll work perfectly. And do you know the numbers on the overseas audiences?
Not yet. I've just been collecting some of the 2013 statistics, and the bulk of our audience is the United States, and then that's followed by Canada, Great Britain, and New Zealand.
Well, Great Britain's not bad, and a lot of that music is more listened to over there, so they'll like get in on it more,
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'll talk to you later.
All right, Bob. Thanks for calling in. Talk to you tomorrow.
All right.
Now, another note that we have to get to here, and again, in the second half hour, after this next break, we're going to play the Crossfire video with Alan St. Pierre and Patrick Kennedy. So we're going to do our little deconstruction of that. We'll see what happens. But I did want to make note, Medigrove, Vermont, in the chat room, let me know about this. Good friend of the show, Diane Fornbacher, the managing editor of Ladybud magazine, has been hired to work for 3D Cannabis Center, which is the one that sold Sean Azariti the first legal weed. So she's moving from New Jersey to Colorado. Well, she ought to just catch a ride with the Wilsons. Diane, I got someone for you to call. But anyway, Diane is trying to raise money for her trip from New Jersey to Colorado, and you can help her out. She's got a GoFundMe page, and if you search for Fornbacher, that's Fornbacher, you'll probably find her out there on GoFundMe, and you can shoot some money her way. One of our finest activists out there, and she deserves it. So let's get her out to Colorado if we can.
I wonder if the Denver Post has hired their new pot critic yet.
Oh, they did. Oh, the critic. They've got the editor, but I don't know about the critic.
And I saw that he was saying that they were looking for a pot critic, and I told on chat, I told Grey Wolf that'd be a good job for him.
Yeah, there we go. You got to have that knowledge of you know, the terpenes and all that kind of stuff. But yes, certainly it would
be a great job for Brian here. He knows terpenes and
I'll move him right into that game.
Right. Somebody want to fly me to Denver? Definitely. You know,
we'll work on that.
Maybe they can just send me the samples and I can write from here. Hey,
hey, that's what I do. Hey, I got a piece up on Alternate. You want to check out alternate.org? Check out the drug section. I've got a piece there on banking and marijuana, and a piece up on High Times today about the first legal weed sales. Kind of recaps my rant. Stick around. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back after these messages from our 420 friendly sponsors. Support these advertisers because their ad money goes straight to the Russ Belville Show. You're tuned into the Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
I'm Sub Cool from Team Green Avenger. At TGAgenetics.com, we are working on the leading edge of medical strains. Our strains are rigorously tested for THC, CBD, THCV, and other critical cannabinoids. Know your grow. Check out our genetic diversity at TGAgenetics.com, the home of Jelly Bean, Jack the Ripper, Vortex, and other award-winning cannabis strains.
Support the Russ Belville Show. Text the word Russ to 420-420 and connect with the National Cannabis Coalition. You can also send $10 to the Russ Belville Show right from your smartphone. That's Russ to 420-420.
In the afternoon, if I'm home, I smoke marijuana.
You're listening to Radical Russ on the Russ Belville Show.
Oh, marijuana. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I got my ganja.
420 Radio, fighting prohibition since 2012. Tokers, there's no good reason to get your dog stoned. While it might not harm them physically, imagine being a dog who already begs for treats all day, and then imagine that dog having the munchies. Not cool.
Welcome back, everybody. This music from Pinochle. And it's funny, everybody in the chat room is saying what we were saying here in the studio. We're all too sore to bob our effing heads.
Oh, yeah. I was able to eke out a few there. So.
I just slept wrong. I don't know what I did. I'm getting old. This happens to you, Brian. You get in your mid-40s, and it's like you wake up, and somehow you hurt yourself in the middle of the night.
Like, I've been there already, Russ.
What the hell's up with that?
Yeah, it's life.
Don't like it. Anyway, as you can see by the video screen, we've got some great video here. Big thanks to our friend moxnews.com. Check them out and throw a buck or two his way as well. He does a lot of great work collecting this media information for us. Alan St. Pierre, the executive director of NORML, faced off against Patrick Kennedy, one of the founders of Project SAM, Smart Approaches to Marijuana. Here it is.
And I'm Van Jones on the left. In the Crossfire tonight, we've got two leaders in the fight for and against legalizing pot. Now, this week, thousands of people in Colorado stood in line to buy legal pot. Here's where I stand. I hate drug use and drug abuse. I've seen the harm that it's done to good people and families and neighborhoods. But I hate the drug war even more. It wastes money, it ruins lives, and the numbers now show that it unfairly targets people of color and the poor. This is one case where the solution is actually worse than the disease itself. So at this point, I support marijuana decriminalization, but I also want to regulate it and tax it and discourage its use. I don't want my kids or yours using drugs. I just don't want anybody's kids going to prison if they do.
Well, look, I think we can start with the agreement that the war on drugs has not worked, that it has ruined a lot of lives, but that we also know...
Actually, Newt Gingrich, I would like to start with the fact that you were a marijuana smoker. When asked about it while he was a Speaker of the House, I believe, when asked about it, he said, well, of course, was he at Harvard? I don't remember what college he was at. But he said, I went to school in the 70s, and if you didn't do it, you were a weirdo.
Yeah.
So keep in mind that everything you hear coming from Newt Gingrich is coming from someone who has smoked weed.
From the 1890s, that a totally unregulated use of drugs leads to devastating results, which is part of where the Food and Drug Act came from. So I think tonight's conversation will be very important and very interesting. We have two terrific guests. In the Crossfire tonight, former Democratic Congressman, I must say, personal friend Patrick Kennedy, who's an advocate for brain research, and Alan St. Pierre, the Executive Director of NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. Let me start, Patrick, with you, if I might. You've had personal experience. You've been open with the country about it, that you've had difficulties with addiction at times. You've also become a real leader in brain research and have done amazing work at Brown University and elsewhere. From your perspective, all these people who are standing in line in Colorado are doing something wrong and dangerous. Could you explain to them why you're concerned and why you think they should be concerned with what they're doing?
Well, it is helpful to know where I'm coming from. I'm a recovering drug addict and alcoholic, and I'm blessed to be in recovery today.
Actually, you're blessed to be a rich white man who had government connections, because his addiction was an addiction to OxyContin. And while on OxyContin and alcohol combined in 2006, he wrecked his car not once but twice in a 2-week span. During the second wreck, when the Washington, D.C. police officers happened upon him being drunk and stoned out of his mind on hillbilly heroin, they gave him a ride home.
Yeah.
He was never cited.
Guy.
He never had to face any consequences for his drug use.
Poor guy.
So keep that in mind when you listen to him talk.
It wasn't always that way. I didn't have periods of addiction. I have a chronic illness I have to fight every single day. I also had the honor working with you, Mr. Speaker, and the legislature for pushing for mental health and addiction coverage. And I was proud, like that Hair Club for Men ad you saw about a generation ago, that not only was I the author of Mental Health Parity and Addiction, but I was also a consumer of benefits known as addiction benefits and mental health benefits. So I also have mental illness. And I want to say that because it informs my thinking on this. I'm also now a father of 3 under 5. And the reason I'm here is for them. And it's not trite when I say that the biggest concern I have in this whole move towards legalization is the impact on our young people. Kind of perception of harm that will come with legalization will bring, and of course there will be higher use rates amongst young people as a result. It's also going to be more accessible because of legalization, even if you're selling to 21 and over. We just know that there's going to be more availability. That's beyond doubt. I'm also concerned about the unintended consequences, like we've seen just yesterday with a toddler 2 years old eating an edible, as it's called. None of us know what that means, but in Colorado they're starting to learn what it means. It means that there are now foodstuffs made with THC content.
Oh my God!
That is troubling.
Really?
There's
like with a magic butter machine?
There's foodstuffs made with marijuana now. Guess what? Patrick Kennedy, 1965, just called. It wants its news headline back.
And
right.
so
their brownies back?
My view is we ought to have this debate, and I really appreciate Van and Mr. Speaker, you taking us and having this opportunity to talk about it, because it's one that hasn't happened, frankly. I think Colorado and Washington State got into this without this debate really taking place.
Well, I mean,
right, yeah. Nobody's been talking about the harms of marijuana over the past 80 years. Colorado and Washington just walked right into it blindly.
Well, you remember when they passed the law, he was like, they snuck this legalization past us.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, what?
What? Kidding me?
With what he just said, he just described something that seems bad. Do you disagree with the concept?
No, I completely agree, and thank you for being so open about addiction problems. I come from a family that treats addiction specialties, and so I appreciate this wholly. So we're talking, I think, really about use versus abuse. People who use marijuana, adults in their home, notably, They're not a concern to society, I would argue. Now, if you abuse marijuana as a youth, or you drink and drive, you come to work impaired, of course, mores and values in the United States wouldn't allow for such. So I think that in many respects, there's not many places that Patrick and I disagree, except for
the most important issue, which is whether or not it should be criminalized.
whether it should be legal or not. I mean, because ultimately, the position that Patrick's group, Sam, has adopted effectively is at least decriminalization. You should not be arrested and put into jail just because you have a small amount of marijuana. Is that fair to say?
It's fair to say. I, like Van, think the war on drugs is an abomination. What it's done to our country, the cost to taxpayers. I like the work you're doing, Mr. Speaker, on right on crime.
Exactly.
The fact is, we have a public health crisis. We incarcerate too many people with addiction, substance use disorders. The challenge now is, what are our solutions? And I don't believe that opening up this notion that this is harmless by legalizing is the right message to send.
Well, I think.
Well, let's talk about the other legal drugs that are
Who
harmless.
said it's harmless?
I know, it's like we legalized tobacco because it was harmless. We legalized alcohol because it was harmless.
It's harmless, yes.
Yeah. We have regulated Oxy because it's harmless.
What this comes down to is guys that are afraid that if they can't say pot's illegal, they won't have anything else to say about why to keep kids off it because they know it's not that bad.
Yep. Right.
That's the thing. It's like, what are you going to tell? What are you going to tell the teenager? Well, don't smoke pot because, well, if you smoke it all the time, every day for an extreme length of time, you might have some slight cognitive difficulties,
and you might be slightly addicted. That it'll take 24 hours to get over.
Yeah. So that doesn't sound like as much of a scare tactic for a lazy parent as, well, it's illegal.
Yeah,
That's what this is really coming down to.
It's good that you raise that. I mean, that's your view. But here's what's so interesting to me. I want to show you some numbers here. The country is actually moving away from your point of view dramatically. 1993, you look at that number, that's the year I graduated from law school. 25% of people said, let's legalize this stuff. Now, 58%. So what is happening that the country is moving away from your position so dramatically if what you're saying is true? I mean, you think the American people are just wrong on this?
No, I think, Van, there's a disconnect between what the science tells us and the broader understanding in the American public.
What does the science say?
Well, the
you're
science...
the brain guy. I'm going to tell you right now, as a political guy, people in your position are losing. So what is the science? What is the science?
I don't argue with you on that, okay, Van?
Well, that's nice to know
I
that he
would say
acknowledges
the
it.
science, every major medical organization and scientific arm that studies the brain says this is not good for the brain.
Not the American Nurses Association.
What?
Not the American Nurses Association.
Yeah.
And who was it that testified before Congress in 1933 that they shouldn't take away our cannabis? It was the American Medical Association.
No shit.
Exactly. And cannabis this is just bad for the brain. Except if you have PTSD or anxiety
or brain
depression,
cancer
or brain cancer or Jesus.
It's not good.
Marijuana is not good for the brain. So now we have to argue, Van, what are the proper policy solutions that are going to reduce incidence? So we have an agreement. If older people want to use it, that's not my worry. My worry.
Wait a minute.
Hold on.
Wait a minute.
Hold it. Really?
So wait.
How old? Do you have to be like Larry's
65,
age, my age?
69.
69?
This coin has 3 sides.
How old
to
you
it?
got to be?
Yeah, Jesus.
Worry is kids, but there are implications. When you allow older people to have free reign, there are trade-offs. We have to understand that the public health science shows that by giving that 22-year-old the right to smoke, there are consequences to that. And the consequences are there's going to be greater availability, greater access, and the consequences are there's going to be greater use rates. That is beyond any...
Hold on. Wait, consequences? Everything he just said sounded greater.
Well, one thing I've got a problem with this, just from a public relations standpoint, is to see Alan nodding to all those points. As if, it's kind of like when Obama was in that second debate, nodding with what Romney said. Don't nod to what he's saying.
Don't nod. Shake your head.
Don't grant him any assumption that anything he is saying is factual, because about 2 out of 3 of the things he just said were bullshit.
Debate whatsoever. So if you are okay with that, then let's go forward. But I
Are
say
you okay with
that's not a good thing for our country.
Mr. Speaker, are you okay with that? I mean, I'm curious
Well,
to know
I
how you...
agree with what he just said at the end, which is it's not good for the country. And Alan, one of the questions I'd ask, if you go back to the 1890s, Sherlock Holmes actually uses drugs. People widely use drugs. All of a sudden, we reached a moment where people said there were so many folks who were addicted that they had a very dramatic change in attitude between about 1900 and 1910. Are there any circumstances, and I realize you spent your lifetime working on this, so I'm putting you on the spot. Are there any circumstances looking down the road 5 or 10 years from now where there could be an outcome in places like Colorado that would lead you to say, maybe this wasn't the right policy? I mean, what would the benchmark be of that we've gone so far that you'd want to rethink it?
Because this is described rightly as an experiment. These two states have been given the ability under our democracy, under federalism, to do this. So the things that I fear, certainly if we saw a dramatic, demonstrable increase in youth rates, that they were having access to these potent products like concentrates, as they're now known. These are hash products, you guys, that are now made to be even stronger. These edible products that in some cases are marketed and put into candy form, and we have these concerns anyways regarding almost any product that children could have access to. The other concern to me would be...
I appreciate that, Alan. Frankly, I don't think a lot of public knows about this candy stuff or the vending machines that we ran into when we had tobacco products.
Okay, hold on, Kennedy. I'm going to call you. Wait a minute.
Wait, now, the med box is only in certain areas.
I got to call bullshit on that. Yeah, call bullshit on that. Was it? Judges?
No.
Thank you.
0
points. Let me explain something to you, Patrick
Let me
Kennedy.
find it a little bit.
You are trying to compare the tobacco vending machines that I grew up with as a kid, because I grew up in bars, man.
Even I grew up with them.
Where you popped coins into a slot, pulled a lever, and smokes came out, to a med box that requires that you first are registered with that box, kept in a database, shown your ID, shown to be an adult, and you have to be biometrically scanned to be able to use the damn thing. There is no comparison. You keep calling it marijuana vending machine to scare people, and this thing is more secure than a safe.
Yeah, what?
Oh,
you really think people would put a big box full of weed out someplace that people would just fucking have? It's like,
especially at today's
it's more secure than an ATM
in Colorado.
No doubt. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we'll play some more of this video, and we might even leave some for tomorrow as well. Stay tuned. You're listening to Toker Talk Radio here on 420radio.org.
You're tuned into the Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
New Approach Oregon is a coalition of Oregon citizens who believe that treating marijuana use as a crime has failed, costing taxpayers millions in law enforcement resources. We believe it's time for a new approach on marijuana, and that Oregonians deserve a chance to decide in the 2014 general election. Our approach will regulate, tax, and legalize marijuana for adults in Oregon. By implementing a strict system to regulate, tax, and legalize marijuana, we can move Oregon forward and create new revenue for critical services. Under our approach for 2014, 40% of funds would support K-12 education, 20% would support mental health and treatment services, and 15% would be dedicated to law enforcement. Public opinion, coupled with victories in Washington and Colorado, confirms marijuana legalization is inevitable. Visit our website at newapproachoregon.com or our page on Facebook at New Approach Oregon. Thank you. Weeducated Talk Radio with Ruby Lexington and crew from Arizona. Every Tuesday at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, and 8 p.m. GMT, right here on 420radio.org.
Ever wonder how often to change your bong water? The most effective method for baking pot brownies? The best destinations for a ganja getaway? How to hide herb in your car? whether to grow your own, how precisely to legalize it, or how something as wonderful as marijuana ever got to be illegal in the first place. Finally, you can find all these answers and much more in the official High Times Pot Smoker's Handbook, featuring 420 things to do when you're stoned. Since 1974, High Times magazine has covered marijuana in all its aspects and wonders, from cultivation to legalization to the herb's enduring and exalted place in popular culture. Packed with inside information, the official High Times Pot Smoker's Handbook rolls all of this collected wisdom together into a single indispensable ganja guide, including an entertaining look at marijuana's history, profiles of herb-friendly travel destinations and festivals, favorite potluck recipes from the High Times staff, smoking skills, advocacy and activism, essential marijuana movies and songs, profiles of famous cannabis strains, comprehensive growing information, celebrity endorsements, and much more. This is truly, finally, the ultimate guide to green living.
Welcome back, everybody. Final segment here on our first show back, Toker Talk Radio. Hanging out with Brian the Red and Left Wing Larry. Yeah. That's music from Zakari. Did I pronounce that right? Zakari? Herbs Man.
Could be Zachariah.
Zachariah? Yeah. All right. See? I knew I'd blow it.
Reggae names are hard.
Oh, it was Zakari too.
I know. Over the break, I recorded a lot of the intro liners for music. I got to Irie Wednesday. I said, screw this. I'm going to wait till Brian can do these, man. I don't know how this is pronounced. I'll say some dumbass thing, and all the Rostos will go, oh, man. You're an informer, man.
Yeah, no bueno.
No bueno. All right, let's get back to Mox News. This is Alan St. Pierre debating Project Sam's Patrick Kennedy. And this is from CNN's Crossfire.
Are you in favor of vending machines for these edibles? I'm learning even here on this show. So are you saying that you would be in favor of vending machines putting out marijuana products?
Not for recreational use. However, I'm going to make an over-the-counter stock that I do not own here. There's Medbox, this company out of Los Angeles, where it's a biometric machine where you have to use your own thumbprint. It's tagged to your own Social Security number, your own banking account, and believe it or not, you can get marijuana out of it, but only...
Don't tell the NSA that.
I know.
Oh, yeah. They know. They know about it.
So I could envision those being at the front of a lot of nursing homes.
Well, look,
Well, what you just hit is interesting because you're talking about the commercialization of this product, and that's really my biggest beef. Right. If you were to ask me, number one problem, Patrick Kennedy, what do you have? It's the for-profit motivation. So I appreciate the speaker's a free market guy. We find ourselves on the opposite sides of a lot of issues, but I would not think that this is a free market issue when the real results of a for-profit industry like the tobacco companies were to hook kids. We saw it with Joe Camel. Frankly, the alcohol industry, which frankly I have the same feelings towards as I do this budding, no pun intended, marijuana industry, is they're targeting kids. You know, flavored alcohol drinks. You know, Joe Camel. So
let me. I apologize, but let me ask you to bear with us, Red. Today we're talking about legalizing marijuana in Colorado. When we come back, I want to ask Alan if we should legalize much more dangerous drugs like cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamine. Stay with us.
So, why are we discussing that if this is a crossfire on marijuana legalization? Oh yeah, to impugn the marijuana legalizer.
Welcome back.
With heroin.
In the crossfire tonight, Alan St. Pierre and Patrick Kennedy. This week, Colorado became the first state in the nation to legalize marijuana, and thousands of people lined up to buy it.
Wait,
but what
did you say
about
this week?
methamphetamine,
I thought they passed the law
cocaine,
last year.
heroin? We need to understand that legalizing marijuana could be a watershed moment. All inhibitions against drug use are going to collapse or certainly dramatically weaken. We could go back to the 1890s when all sorts of dangerous drugs were legal and their use was widespread and out of control.
Okay, so we've legalized marijuana, and it's so good that now everybody wants to do heroin. What?
There was one word he said there that I agree with. Control. Exactly.
That's
without legalization, you cannot have control.
Exactly, exactly. And this idea that we legalize marijuana and then suddenly all the inhibitions to all other drug use will go away is absurd, Pat. Newt, whatever the hell your name is. Pat Buchanan, Newt Gingrich, what's the difference? But Newt, what the hell, man? You smoked pot. Did you ever do heroin? Did anything about your pot smoking make you want to do heroin?
Well, Patrick Kennedy did do hillbilly heroin.
Yeah.
Oxycontin.
Yeah, he went, no gateway there, didn't start with the pot, went right to the pills,
Alcohol,
right?
well, pills. Right from alcohol to the pills.
See, here's the thing. These people discuss drugs, and it's often when you're talking about these guys that are, inside the beltway, elite, not much touch with the common man, they discuss drugs as if they're discussing, alien life forms outside our solar system. As if
a theoretical
it's
thing.
Some sort of theoretical, nobody's ever seen it before thing, and that they're all alike. Look, people out there aren't stupid. People know that smoking pot can be fun, and shooting heroin can suck. People know this. This is not like, hey, pot's legal, let's try heroin. That's not the way it works, Newt. People know what these different products are, and as they become more legalized, they will even know better what the possible risks and dangers of these things are. I like, for example, Newt, I like hallucinogens. From time to time, I like to do mushrooms. On rare occasions, I like to do LSD. But I'm yet to do peyote or mescaline or ayahuasca because I have heard taking the trip on those involves puking your guts out. And I don't want to do that.
That's like drinking.
Yeah, I might as well drink, right? So here I am, a guy who is an acknowledged drug user, an acknowledged user of drugs other than cannabis. And yet there's lots of drugs I don't want to do just because I know what they do, and that doesn't sound fun to me.
Yeah,
that's the way drugs work, Newt. They are a product like any other product. I can't understand how these Republican guys like Newt Gingrich, who are so free market, so, let the marketplace rule, libertarian thinkers, lose that when it comes to drugs. I just don't understand. All right, let's let them rant.
And Alan, I just want to ask you, from your perspective, not your organization's perspective, but from your personal perspective, what would you do with heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine?
I'm a big supporter of what's known as harm reduction. This notion that if you use or sell or produce these so-called hard drugs, that if you interface with police, you should have an option for treatment. Jail, prison should not be the first immediate consequence.
So-called hard drugs?
Yeah.
What do you mean so-called hard drugs? Meth is not a so-called hard drug.
In my world of drug consumers, there's, for example, there will be people that will take umbrage with the very question being asked that somehow or another there's even a division between marijuana and all these other drugs, which I logically make myself. And here's one reason culturally I'd say to that. There's High Times magazine, there's Cannabis Culture magazine, there's Skunk magazine. First Amendment, we've never seen a heroin magazine or a cocaine magazine. I don't think the culture supports those hard drugs being legalized anytime soon, but I don't think people should be arrested and jailed because they use them.
Now, what about people who, for example, the Mexican drug cartel, which routinely kills people?
Well, of course, violence always warrants the most severe punishments.
Because there's this interesting challenge. It's almost like the prohibition in the 20s, where we're going to say you're held harmless if you have a small amount, but the person who got it to you, who's also making huge amounts of money right now.
Well, that's why regulation and control largely puts it, much to the chagrin of some.
All right, we got to wrap this up, but that's all the time we got. We'll cover the rest of this. I think it's pretty fascinating, actually. We'll cover the rest of this on tomorrow's Toker Talk Radio, but that's all the time we got for today. Welcome back, everybody. Nice to have a nice new year.
Happy 2014.
2014. We are going to turn you on now to the latest episode of Stony Sundays. That's coming up here at 5 o'clock Pacific on 420 Radio. If you missed any of these previous 2 hours, they're coming up at 6 and 7. And then coming up at 8 o'clock, a new edition of the new Viper Hour. Tune in live. I've got Trumpet Night tonight. We're going to cover the great trumpeters, Dizzy Gillespie, Louis Armstrong, and more. For Brian the Red and Left Wing Larry, I'm Radical Russ. Thanks for joining us. And until next time, take care of each other, Tokers.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you